What will Auburn's record be in 2024? Let's talk about it on this edition of the Uptempo Podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Let's go, Auburn family. What's up, man? I hope everybody's having a good week. Dustin Smith and Blake Lane back with another edition of the Uptempo Podcast, and this is always one of our favorites. It's prediction time, Blake. We're going to tell the people how we see the season going out tonight, and I'm going to put this disclaimer out right now. Guys, this is not what I want to happen. This is a realistic take. I want to see Auburn go 15-0, 16-0, whatever it takes to win a national championship tonight. So just keep that in mind. But we are going to look at this objectively, tell y'all how we think things are going. Blake, we think we got some more big commitments on the way. Football's about to start. All of our current commitments will officially be in action this Friday night. It's here, baby. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Friday night, Cottage Chill Christian Academy, Shadarius Tootle, live in action. We'll have a member pod out on that. I know you're going down to Gulf Shores.
Oh, yeah.
It's here. It's here. Just one more day away and one more sleep, and you start getting that feeling of Friday night, and then Saturday kicks off, and then next Saturday, Jordan-Hare's filling up, and you're welcoming in Alabama A&M, and kudos to Auburn for hosting an in-state school. Giving them the money and everything that they need to be successful. So, Dustin, football season's here, man. It's time to strap it up, get the pads popping, and compete to be successful and get back to the winning ways that we once knew at Auburn University. And I think Auburn has a chance to be that this year. I think the chips are on the table for Auburn. You just got to put it on the field. You can't have what happened last year happen this year. And I think that's where we're at. And that's why this is going to be a fun episode. It's going to be a real episode. It's going to be, we're not trying to sunshine pump here. We're going to hit you with it straight. And you're probably not going to see an 11-1 like you see on Twitter, and you're probably not going to see a 10-2. There might be something that you like, and then there might be something that you don't like. But that's the thing is, Dustin has his opinion, I have my opinion, and we're going to come at you straight. And I think that's what makes this podcast great. And so we're here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely want you guys, whether you're watching live in the live chat, to give us your thoughts as we go game by game, or if you're watching on replay. Hey, do us a favor. You guys know normally we go live on Tuesday nights. Had to move this one to Wednesday. So do us a favor. Share this out on social media. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure this gets in everybody's algorithms, because we were both getting some messages about, what happened Tuesday night, blah, blah, blah. So just help us out. Share this thing out. And but let's get into it, Blake. We're going to start off with our toss, boss, or loss to kind of set the discussion, set the table of how we're kind of viewing all these games, and then we'll get into it and go game by game and give our official predictions. So I'm going to throw yours up here first, brother, and just kind of walk us through your thinking here.
All right, well, obviously, I'll start with the boss column. New Mexico, I think we win that game. We're supposed to get the job done. Alabama A&M, same. ULM, same. All right, now I'll start with Vandy. I know everything that happened with New Mexico State and them bringing in Kiel and Pavea and all of that. I don't care, okay? Vanderbilt is toting something that day, all right? Payback. It's coming around. It's making its way full circle. I think Auburn proves a point. They make up for that disaster of what happened last year against Vandy. And payback is something special that day. I'll move to Cal right here. Cal played us tough last year, and I know going out on the road, it was a disaster. It wasn't pretty, but we got to sit here and look. When I look at Cal, they had quarterback problems last year. All right, they did bring in a guy. And I think he threw after Sam Jackson got hurt or put on the bench or whatever after the Auburn game and in the middle of their season. They had a guy come in, and I think he threw like 15 touchdown passes. All right, but he also threw 10 picks in that stretch. I know they made a bowl game. All right, I know that they had one of the better seasons that they've had in a long time. So, with all of that said, with Cal, they were also statistically the worst defense that they've had under their head coach. It's the worst statistically defense that they've had under their head coach. They gave up almost 40 points a game last year. And I know the Pac 12, they put up a lot of numbers and all that. But man, they gave up a lot of points. All right. They lost their best receiver to the University of Washington. They had to bring in 3 new receivers through the transfer portal. They did bring one of the guys back that had a little success against us last year. And they went out and got a transfer quarterback. So now you got a quarterback competition at Cal. You're running your receivers are brand new. Yeah, you bring Ott back. I thought we played Ott pretty tough last year. I felt like we made things pretty difficult for him. Ended up going out of the game right there. Simp made life tough for him there. And I just don't think them traveling to Jordan-Hare and them having the roster turnover, and it's just, to me, that is a boss game that Auburn wins. And I think you win that game by 2 scores. And I think you make up for last year. I think this team is different. I think Auburn's offense will be a little different, a little better this year. You're going to be at home. Jordan-Hare knows the magnitude of this Cal game. This is where it starts. So I think you handle business there. I think that is if you want to be any type of successful, Cal has to be a boss game. It has to be.
Yeah.
I'll move on to Arkansas. All right. Me and Dustin talked about this through text earlier today. Sam Pittman is a dead man walking. Dead man walking. I watched one of his pressers after one of their scrimmages where they threw 8 picks. And he literally looked lifeless at the mic. It looked like Hugh Freeze last year, where Hugh was just like, "Hey man, we're not good." All right. And Sam was like, "Hey, we got to get better. I don't know how much better we're gonna get." It was bad today. Now, I just don't think they're going to be any good. I don't think you lost your best player. You lost your quarterback that you compared to Cam Newton for years. All right. You lost your 2 offensive weapons that moved the ball for you. And I just don't know how you replace that. And then your defense, your secondary was Swiss cheese. It was terrible, awful, pathetic. Couldn't stop a nosebleed. I just don't see where you got any better. I think you go 3-9. I think Sam Pittman gets fired in the middle of the year. Maybe week 4, week 5, something like that. All right. Kentucky.
Yeah.
I think Kentucky's going to be pretty good on defense. But once again, y'all, it's Kentucky. If we want to be the program that we sit here and we talk about and we want to be great and we want to get back to competing for national championships, we want to be in the same breath as our 2 biggest rivals with Georgia and Alabama. We got to go to Lexington and put on a show. I'm sorry, Brock Vandagriff, brand new QB. I don't think Kentucky's going to throw it all around the yard. I think they're going to run the football. In my opinion, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I think Auburn goes on the road and gets a dub in Lexington. It's not a place that just worries me to death. Like our guy Charlie 5 said, in front of their dozens of fans.
Oh, he got into it with a couple of the Kentucky media guys.
It's not a place that frightens me. And I know Auburn's kind of, they went up there in 2010 and UK made it close and all that stuff. But we got to dominate Kentucky. And I just think we're in a better spot than UK. And I think that's going to be a week where Auburn faces some adversity after 2 tough losses. And you got to get a win. It's going to be one of those games where, hey, Hughes got to get the boys up, and you got to get a dub. And if you want to meet the standard, it starts there. And I think UK is a boss game for the Auburn Tigers. And I think when you look at that, man, that's 7 right there.
Yeah, so you're basically saying the floor is 7 games.
I think you're going 7. All right. And now when I look at these, I'll go to the toss. All right, I'll go to the toss column. You give me one of these games. You give me one of them. A&M, Oklahoma, Mizzou. The only reason I put Mizzou in the toss, I love their offense. All right, I love what Eli Drink does over there. I love Luther Burden. I think Luther Burden is the best wide receiver in college football.
Agreed.
But their defense lost a whole hell of a lot. They also lost their DC. Went on down to Baton Rouge. He called Baton Rouge in the middle of the night. He said, "Baby, I'm coming home." That worries me a little bit. I know it's in Como. I think Auburn, if Auburn can get the offense going early, they can keep up with Mizzou there. They can keep up with Mizzou. Florida did it last year. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, well, Mizzou's just going to boat race them. Florida went into Como last year and played them down to the final drive. So it's not an intimidating place to play. It's a game where if your defense shows up, you don't have some busted assignments, you don't give up free plays and things like that. They also don't have the running back that come on as a walk-on and lit the world on fire and had a Heisman-type year out of nowhere. I mean, dude was sensational. He's not there anymore. So I have Auburn losing that game, but I think there is a route where Auburn could possibly pull an upset there. I got it in the toss. I think Auburn does lose that game, though. Now, Oklahoma. This is the one right here where, Dustin, obviously from my boss, you can see there, I think the Auburn Tigers are 4-0 when the Oklahoma Sooners come to town. I think that Jordan-Hare Stadium is going to be absolutely electric. I mean, I don't think you're going to be able to hear the person sitting next to you. I think this is the flip the script game. I think the Auburn defense can make life tough for Jackson Arnold. We will see what the Oklahoma Sooners are about the week before against Tennessee. They welcome Tennessee, Josh Heupel's return to OU. And you're bringing that for your first SEC road game. You're bringing that offense out here. I like the Auburn defense. I think Peyton can be more comfortable at home. If this game was on the road, it would be in the loss column. But it's not. We get them at the crib. And we get them with our fan base rocking. I don't care if it's at 2:30. It's going to be hellacious. It's going to be fun. I don't think Oklahoma can stop the run. I don't think they can get off the field on third down. They haven't showed me in the past couple of years. So until that defense gets better, with that game being at home, it's in the toss, but I like Auburn to win that football game. Now, the A&M game, Dustin, we can talk about that. I got them in the toss just because I think Auburn's going to be in a big spot in their season, and it's going to come down to, do you want to finish the damn thing off, or do you want to what happened last year happen again? Do you want to go out a loser, or do you want to finish it off? We talk about flipping the script. Which one do you want to do? Because they're going to come to your house, and after what they did to you last year, Jimbo's on the field. They didn't take you seriously. Safeties were walking 5 yards from the line of scrimmage because they knew you couldn't throw the football. They didn't respect you last year. And the year before that, I know Cadillac was hype and everything. That was one of the ugliest football games I've ever watched in my life. It was horrible. But in my opinion, this is one where you got to get a dub. You got to get a dub. Man, I know each and every one of us, when we get on Twitter, and you always see the Texas A&M hype, the Texas A&M hype. For what? For what, Dustin? What has Texas A&M ever done in the SEC besides Johnny Manziel? Why does Texas A&M get the hype and Auburn doesn't? All right? Because we both end up doing the same thing every year.
I don't have a good answer for you, buddy. I don't know what it is. I mean, good recruiting classes will get you some hype, but at some point it's kind of
all those that transferred out. Yeah,
for sure.
So it's crazy to me, man. Like, once again, you're hearing A&M is 10-2. They're going 10-2, 9-3. Yo, they're bringing in Mike Elko. I know he's a great coach, but it's a new day. All right, I don't think things are going to be hot out the gate. Just hit the ground running. It just doesn't work like that. I know Gus Malzahn happened, but 90% of the time it doesn't work like that. There's bumps in the road. They got a tough one. We're going to see what Texas A&M's made about week 1. They play Notre Dame at Kyle Field. Let's see what they're about. Let's see if the money tree's shaking. Because if they lose to Notre Dame, get out. All right? Get out. You might as well just move back to the Big 12 and see if you can win without Papa and Uncle in your conference coming to take over. All right? So that's just where I'm at, man. Texas A&M, I got it in the toss because I could see Connor Wegman coming in, having a day. But I think it's a game where Auburn has to win, man. I do. I think it's one of those games where it's going to be 50-50, but you need to make some plays late to win. Now, everybody can get mad at me for this, but this is one of those things where they're both on the road, y'all. I'm with Dustin where I still think we're a year away from being in the same competitive atmosphere with these two teams.
Same tier.
Yeah. Same tier. Same, athletes on the field. And I know what we got. Yeah, depth, all that stuff, man. And I know we played them close at home. All right, I get that. I know we both, took them down to the end and all that. That's great. But we're on the road in their house this year. It's just two tough places to play. I got them as losses. Show it to me. Show me. All right. I'm big on. You want me to start putting Georgia and Alabama in the toss? Well, you gotta show me. Go in there and make something shake. And then next year, I might come back and say, hey, let's put them babies in the toss. All right. So that's where I'm at. I think Auburn can be successful this year. Season prediction coming up. Dustin, I want to hear yours.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get over there, Blake, I think you got a couple of people fired up. Tim says, send up tempo when they're to hype the boys up before the game. Hey. Well, we definitely be passionate. I can tell you that. Spicy Penguin says Blake needs to talk to the team for sure. And Brett says some of my favorite. This is a T-shirt, Brett. Some of my favorite things: sweet tea, Southern girls, AU football, and up tempo on their soapboxes.
I love it.
Yeah, man. I like everything you said there, man. It got me fired up. Let me get over here to mine. All right. So here's kind of how I frame mine, guys. I'm looking at if I got you in the boss, then that's just an automatic win to me. I don't really see a world where Auburn can lose those games. So that to me, that's the floor. If I got you in the loss, I don't see how Auburn can win those games, and that's the ceiling. So as you can see, based off of that, my floor for this team is 5-7. My ceiling is 10-2. So I'm probably going to land somewhere in the middle. Looking at the boss, the boss section here, New Mexico, you should handle that. You've already beat Vandy's ass last year on the road. They're coming back. I don't care that they brought a couple of coaches and a couple of players from a team that beat us. That's just not how football ultimately works. I'm not worried about that at all. Auburn will smash Vanderbilt. smash them. The worst thing about the Vanderbilt game is going to be that the election's like 48 hours from there, and we're going to be hearing about politics on a football Saturday. But I won't get on that soapbox tonight, Brett. ULM, I mean, get out of here. Alabama, A&M, whatever, and Arkansas, like you said, Sam Pittman, dead man walking. I don't expect Arkansas, their head coach, to even make it through the year. It was our best game last year. We just ran them off the field in their stadium, and I think we're going to be improved this year, and I think they're going to be the same, if not worse. So obviously, I think Auburn destroys Arkansas, and yeah, I mean that 4-0 start, which will take us to our toss, and what we've said all summer. Oklahoma's the game. Oklahoma's a game here that could really, in my opinion, just really flip this thing on its head. We've talked about a million times that game's super important. As far as Missouri, the reason I don't have Missouri in the loss column is I think Missouri is going to be good. I think they're going to be like anywhere between a 7 to 9 win team. Brady Cook, Luke Bird, and that's one of the best QB to receiver combos in the country. But like you said, they lost a lot on the defensive side. They lost their coordinator, and they lost a lot of talent over there too. And I'm just because they had a really good season last year and won the Cotton Bowl, won double-digit wins, that doesn't mean they're going to like do the same or like ascend and get better this year. And I think if they go 8-4 or 9-3 or something like that, I think it's still a good year for them. I think it still means their program is in a good spot. Like, to me, that wouldn't even. I think Missouri goes somewhere around 8-4, and they think they have a good year. Here's my thing with that: we got a bye week before then, so any little injuries that we have, guys that are nicked up, all that kind of stuff, like we got a bye week to get ready for them. And I worry about their QB and receiver combo. Like I said, it's one of the best in the country, but you give DJ Durkin, you give Charles Kelly 2 weeks to get ready for it. And I think that DJ can design something in the front end to get after the quarterback. As we sit here today, a couple days out from the season starting, I feel so much better about our pass rush situation than I did during spring camp. So I think that Missouri game is going to be really close. I think it's going to be a close game in the fourth quarter. Can Auburn pull out a close game, an important game on the road in the SEC in the fourth quarter? I hadn't seen it in a while, so I got it in the toss column. Kentucky, for me, this would be in the boss column if Auburn had them at home. My main concern with Kentucky, Blake, is just where it's at. It's at the very end of 4 weeks away from home. And I think we're going to take some L's on that road stretch. Like, where are the boys' heads at? Are they just trying to get back home to play Vandy and ULM? And I have enough respect for Stoops to say, okay. Again, if this was at home, I'd have Auburn winning it. A&M toss up, yeah. But Auburn should win this game at home. It's a toss up for me because of where Auburn's at. And then I know a lot of people on social media did not like me putting Cal in here, and I get it. But hear me out. I just watched Auburn play Cal last year, and both teams finished with about the same record, if not the same record. It's not like Auburn is just a whole tier above Cal right now. Like, we're still operating, despite how much I love my Tigers, out of Auburn having 3 losing seasons in a row. And if Cal was a game that was maybe in October and at home, I'd feel a little bit different maybe. But it being that second week, that first Power 5 game, we don't have it's still going to be Cam Coleman's second game. It's a lot of these. We're a young team. And it being the second game, and I think Cal will be decent enough to make a bowl. So, I'm not saying that Cal's going to come in here and win, but it's a game that if Auburn messes around and turns the ball over a couple times, you're going to find yourself in the game in the fourth quarter, and I don't think that's where Auburn needs to be. And I've seen I think Auburn should strive to win this game by 10 to 14 points, but I've seen a lot of people saying that if Auburn wins this game close, then it means we're in trouble. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it could be a situation where we start kind of slow, and maybe Cal comes in and we just blow them out. Like, that wouldn't surprise me either. It's not some kind of hill I'm dying on. But again, excuse me for my faith in Auburn not being the highest. and then losses. We haven't beat Georgia. I turned 33 in October. We haven't beat Georgia in Athens since I was in middle school. So that speaks for itself. And we haven't beat Alabama in Bryant-Denny Stadium since 2010, and that was 14 years ago. So I'll see it when I believe it. I'm not going to pick Auburn to win those places until they actually do it. So they're just going to have to prove me wrong. And I'll be happy. I will be so happy for them to prove me wrong on that. I want to be wrong. I want Auburn to win every single game, bro. But that's just kind of the way I see it. So, like, if things go right, I'm seeing 9-3, 10-2. If everything hits, I don't think it's realistic to expect everything to hit. So I think we land somewhere around the 7-5, 8-4 range. And I'm still, as we're sitting here live, Blake, I'm still looking at a couple of these games, and I'm like, am I going to change my pick right here as we make it? Am I going to change my pick right here as we make it? So let's get into the first one, because there's a couple that I might change them here on the fly. Alabama A&M, this needs no discussion. Like, Dub. Cal, I'm going with the win. I know I just said it was going to be a toss-up, but like I put it in a toss-up because I can see a world. That was my thinking on that. Can I see somehow Auburn losing this game? I can see Auburn losing the Cal, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No. Look, like I mentioned, there's a lot of turnover on Cal's roster. Them bringing in a transfer portal QB and the new receivers and all of that stuff, man, I just think they did have some success at the end of the year, but that defense got worse than when we saw them. All right, I just don't think they travel across country. 2:30 games, going to be tough. Peyton will be better. I think we get started early. I don't think Auburn goes out there and just blows them out. I'm with you. I think it could be like a 2-score game, man, where in the second half, Auburn starts leaning on them a little bit. You saw Auburn have success on the ground early in the game last year. We just had a fumble. Damari he got rocked, and take a blow to the head, get a concussion, get banged up, man, and you lose the football. And that kind of swung momentum a little bit because we were about to go up. We were controlling the line of scrimmage there for a little bit. Then that happens. You lose momentum. It is what it is. It was a different game. So I just think we start leaning on them late, Dustin.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a game where it's like midway through the third quarter, Auburn's like up by 7, and then a big play happens, and it's kind of in control after that. For Michael, I hear you, buddy. Michael says, what do you think Cal's record would have been in the SEC? Probably 4-8. Yeah. What would New Mexico State's record have been in the SEC? What would Maryland's record have been in the SEC? That didn't matter. They kicked our ass. On to New Mexico. Like, look, just get back on the state of New Mexico. Like, I know it ain't the same team. I know it's their rival, but just do me a favor and get back some kind of how.
What I'll say about New Mexico is whoop their ass. All right. Just it's gonna start with winning the games that you have to win, man. You can't just keep sitting here letting people clown you on the internet. Hugh Freeze, I'm gonna say this to you, sir. We appreciate everything you've done at Auburn, but you get clowned on sometimes for losing games that you should win to bad teams. So it starts, hey, Cal, New Mexico, Arkansas, all those teams, you're better than. We can't have a slip up this year because this fan base, a slip up to one of these three. These Auburn fans, oh boy, get ready.
Yeah, you can't have another one. And Michael, I hope you're right. Michael says, I'm about to be proven wrong. I hope you're right, brother. Like for sure. I want Auburn to win every game. I hope they prove me wrong for sure. Let's see. All right, Arkansas. I mean, like we said, they got a zombie out there as a head coach. And I like Sam Pittman. I like him. But like, it's just, you should have just fired him when you told the whole world we want to fire him. Like, you should have just done it then, man. What are you doing here? You're just delaying the inevitable. And I hate it for T. Will out there, but like, they don't have a shot, man.
And what's crazy is you brought back the ex that it all went wrong with. And you got him calling plays now. And how do you think your head coach, like, how would I feel? Like, that's what I'm sitting here thinking is you got Bobby P back and they're all excited. But I mean, how does that make Sam Pittman feel? Because it feels to me like they want Bobby P back as head coach. I mean, that's what I get when I look at Arkansas, man, is you come out, you said, hey, I want to fire him. And then all of a sudden you say, we pulled the trigger a little too early. Let's reload the gun. All right. And then let's take it all back. Let's take it all back. We never said it. Let's smooth things over. Well, let's bring Bobby P in here to call plays. So when things do go bad this year, let's pull the trigger and get him out of here. And then bang, we got Bobby P to take over as interim head coach. And the world's all right again. It's just wild to me how all that happened, man. It's crazy. I just think, like Dustin said, dead man walking. He looked lifeless at one of the pressers. He looked kind of stressed out. Like, hey, and I mean, I get why he's stressed. Texas and Oklahoma just come in and you're surrounded at Arkansas, man. You got LSU underneath you. You got Ole Miss. All right. They're sitting right there at the state line. They're winning 10, 11 games. You got Oklahoma right there. Mizzou right there. They're winning now. You're surrounded. There's nothing you can do. You're not walking into living rooms and saying, oh, hey, come to Arkansas. All right, woo pig, baby. No. And then you want to get on your social media, and when somebody says something about Auburn, you want to giggle and laugh and all that. And for what? We beat you by 50. All right. It wasn't even close. We could have scored 100. Could have scored 100 on you, and we lost to New Mexico State. And I don't get it, man.
There's
Arkansas
been
trash.
multiple times in our life, Blake, where Auburn could have put up 100 on Arkansas if they really wanted to.
The stove was hot in Jordan Hare. All right, Eli Stove. I mean, we could have scored 200 that day.
Yeah,
we've embarrassed them multiple times.
Even when we're not good. Like, they weren't any good, but we had a losing season too last year. We smoked you. And then in basketball, went into your thing and gave you your worst home loss in your basketball arena ever. Like, all in the same calendar sports year. Arkansas is not what they think they are. And I have to, like, their fans and their media, they're just so wild with the way they act. And this, like, they're this high and mighty, bro. It just trips me out, bro. I can't with them.
Last thing with Arkansas. All right. Love how passionate the fan base is. But in basketball, you went and got a coach that's been losing in the first round at the greatest college basketball program of all time. I mean, UCLA is up there with Wooden, but let's be realistic. In this era, Kentucky basketball is the blue blood, and you go and get him thinking you're saving the day. Crazy work.
Yeah, for sure. All right, on to Oklahoma. This is where we differ, Blake. I went with the L. You've got the W. My thinking here is really simple. It's the name, Oklahoma. Auburn will be 4-0. I think that Oklahoma could possibly be 4-0. If they lose the game to Tennessee, it's like maybe I would think different. They play Tennessee before they play us. But even then, I might be more worried because it's like, back against the wall. They just lost where they come in there. Like, so I don't know. For me, it's more about Auburn. Auburn being 4-0. All eyes on them. Oklahoma's first SEC road game. I'm gonna have to see Auburn come through in these moments. Like, in the last half decade, Auburn's let us down every single time since the 2019 Iron Bowl. Auburn's let us down every single time when the lights turn on and the eyes start to come onto the program. So it's just about. I know Oklahoma's got their questions, but Auburn has their questions. It's just about the moment for me. Until Auburn shows me they can handle this moment. Because if Auburn's 4-0, everyone's gonna be looking at this game saying what everybody said all summer. This is the game. Show me. And that makes me nervous as hell because Auburn does not step up in those moments. They're gonna have to prove to me they flipped the script and change that.
Bring me them dogs, all right? Because Auburn is handling business in Jordan Hare. All right. I'm telling you right now. I think this is the one, man. I think this is the one. This is going to let out all of that built-up frustration of Penn State coming into our house and waxing us. I think this is the one where we finally get to sit back on a Saturday night and say, hey, we just won a big-time football game. We made it happen in front of our fans. I think Oklahoma faces a tough task right here. I think they get Tennessee. I think Nico gives them fits. I think Tennessee beats them. Then you have to come to Auburn, Alabama, and deal with Jordan Hare Stadium. Jackson Arnold, first SEC road game. something stuck out to me when he was at the Manning Passing Academy. He said he walked up to Carson Beck and he said, "Hey man," he said, "What's the stadium that I got to worry about?" He said Carson Beck looked at him and said, "Jordan Hare, unreal place." He said that place got some voodoo in it. He said it's different down there. Kirby Smart said the same thing. Kirby Smart said, "Hey, that place is different." And he said, "We were much better on paper.
Yeah.
Much better on paper. But that place is different." Thing about Oklahoma, man, I know BV is doing a great job. I think hiring him was a great hire for Oklahoma because they knew this move was coming to the SEC. So you wanted to go the defensive route. He's recruiting his tail off. But I think they're still like a year or two away, man. Like they're still coming into this conference. They got dealt a brutal schedule. Brutal schedule. Playing Tennessee, a team that's probably going to win 9 and 10 games before you come to us. That's tough. That is tough.
They might pick to win the SEC, Blake. Let's sneak that in there.
Oh, wow. Wow. I think
Tennessee.
we might do a little pop-up episode one day of, give out some sleepers on and things like that. But my biggest thing with Oklahoma is I've watched you for years have the same problem. You can't get off the field on third down. Can't stop the run. Your secondary is Swiss cheese at times. You do score points, but this year you're breaking in a new quarterback. I think they're going to have to depend on the run game a little bit. And I just don't like it. I don't like the matchup at Jordan Hare. And I like what you say about Auburn having to flip the script and got to eventually get over the hump. The cards are stacked against Auburn because you haven't done that. So it's tough sitting here saying that you are going to do that. But Jackson Arnold has got to show me that he can do it. And I know before somebody gets in here and says, well, Peyton Thorne's trash. Well, Peyton Thorne's going to be at home where he played pretty dang well last year. He played pretty dang well against Georgia. He played well enough to win there. He played well enough to win against Alabama. And before somebody says he went 5 of 16, all right, he also threw about 6 balls that should have been caught by his receivers. Instead, you had drops, guys standing out of bounds, not knowing where they're at on the field. It's just little things like that, man. I think PT plays well. I think Auburn wins a close one. I think we get to roll Toomer's corner and have a blast. And when you wake up on that Sunday morning, before you head back to wherever you're from in this state, and you make that little drive, and you just want to see the snow. All right, you want to see you want to see the snow. I mean, it's magical. It's magical. I love it, man. I think we finally get to go back and have that fun and that tradition. It's going to be a blast, man. I like us with the dub.
Yeah, I definitely hope you're right, brother. Like I say, I think it's going to be a close game. It's I'm just broken. I'm broken from 4th and 31.
I get it.
Devin says, what did Venable say about us? He said he threw a shot, said that Auburn didn't have alignment. And, that kind of fed into the whole evil booster thing. And, I mean, we see right now with Auburn bringing in top 5 recruiting classes, even coming off of a 6 and 7 season. You couldn't do that if you didn't have alignment. So I'm definitely hoping that Auburn gets to show Mr. Brenaville's just what he's missing out on that day. On to Athens. Listen, I mean, me and Blake, we kind of talked about it a lot on the Toss and Boss thing there, but it's just, dude, forever. Like, it's just been forever. And, I mean, I'm sitting here trying to rack my brain of when the last time we were even competitive in Athens. When did we even – I mean, was it even a game in the 4th quarter, man? Y'all help me out.
That's my thing is, look, I know it's an L. All right, I'll keep it short and sweet with this one. I know it's an L on my prediction. But like Dustin said, you just got to be competitive. You just got to go up there and show, hey, look, we're coming at you again like we did last year. It's in your house. Don't put on film what you put on 2 years ago up there. where you line up. It's fourth and 1, and your right guard just completely oblivious. Don't show me things like that, man. Be competitive. If you go into the fourth quarter down 7 points and you lose by 10 on the road at the number one team in the country, I'm okay with that. We can leave. We can leave Athens, Georgia, with our heads high and say, "Hey, look, we're 5-1 now. Damn it, let's go compete. Let's go to Como and compete." I'm cool with it.
Yeah, under your scenario, we're 5-1. And if we keep that game competitive, then I'd be over the moon. Like, and I think that everybody that's not like outside of Auburn would start to look at it and say, "Hey, Auburn's halfway into their season. They're 5-1. Close loss in Athens is their first loss. Like, this team would start. You're kind of close to the playoff rankings coming out. Then, like, you would start really kind of getting the momentum up just with a close game. And now we know, in this playoff era, and in the 12-team playoff, like, you might be allowed with Auburn's schedule. You might be allowed a close loss or two that you weren't ever going to be allowed in the 4-team playoff. Or hell, I mean, we went undefeated one time and didn't get in the thing. So y'all know what it is. But with this 12 teams now, man, it's like you play a couple. If you have a couple of close losses on the road on the SEC, as long as you have a couple of good wins, you'll be okay. So yeah, and then under my scenario, like, we're 4-2 right now, and like me personally, I wouldn't be freaking out at all. I would still be like, okay, because I know what's coming after the road stretch, and my perspective on where this program is, like, I'm really looking at 2025 as the year where things really kind of go that direction. My thing with this year, Blake, is I'm excited when I hear that, Amaris Williams is coming on and Malik Block is going to play. I love hearing about all these young cats, and you guys have been with us for a while. Me and Blake been hyping them up, and we do member pods on every commitment, and so we hype these guys up. And we go watch all the ones we can and all that. And y'all remember I said Cam Coleman's a 6-star. Is what I think I said when I came back and watched him. I said he's the best I've ever seen up close. They're still freshmen in the toughest league. So there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be weeks where Cam Coleman has 2 catches for 20 yards. And then there's going to be weeks where he has 7 for 118 and a touchdown. Like, that's just kind of what the SEC is. And I hope I'm wrong on that. I hope we ball out all the time. But like I look at Keldrick Falk last year, right? Like, there was definitely some growing pain games. Dude's a stud, and we all know that. Yep. But it's tough in this league, man. On to Missouri. Both got it as an L, Blake. Like I said, I'm talking about it. Like, in my toss, I could see Auburn pulling this one out because of the bye week. To me, this is going to be all about getting after the quarterback, and I see us losing a close one, like a 34-31 or a 31-28 style. This is a tough one.
I'm exactly on the same line as you. I think Auburn loses a close one on the road. I think Missouri's offense is just a bit too much, and I know I mentioned earlier that their defense, they lost a lot. That their DC went down to Baton Rouge, and I think Auburn can score, but can you keep up with this just insane offense that they have? I mean, the receivers are there. Brady Cook has flourished into a pretty damn good QB, so they're going to be good, man. They're going to be good, and I don't know if Auburn can quite keep up. And that's why I got it as a loss.
Yeah. So then at Kentucky, you said you got the win. I'm going with the win as well. My thinking here, man, remember when I said like a week or two ago that I think the culture change is good for a win?
Yep.
This is the game I'm talking about because under my scenario, we've lost 3 in a row. We've lost to Oklahoma, we've lost to Georgia, and we've lost to Missouri. I think that's so. In my season here, we're 4-3. And I think that's when you see that character change. That's when you see that change in culture show up. Because I think Auburn shows up this day at 4-3, knowing they got to get one of these games in this road stretch. And then, all right, we can come back home. I think they get this one. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be hard because if this was at home, I would have Auburn winning by 7-10. Kentucky's gone 7-6 in back-to-back years. It kind of feels like a program that's just hanging on. Like, they could easily go 5-7, 4-8, and you wouldn't be surprised. They could go 8-4, and I wouldn't be surprised. So I just think this is a day where I don't think that as I played my season out, I just don't see this Auburn team with just kind of like the makeup that I think they have internally, not showing up. And I don't have them losing 4 in a row, man. I think they show up on this day, and this is kind of where you see what I was talking about with a character change. I think it shows up here, and we get a tough win in Lexington.
So I have Auburn at 5-2 in this scenario, and I have them going to Lexington, Kentucky. And the reason I mentioned earlier is I just think it's a bad matchup for Kentucky. Kentucky wants to run the football. I think Auburn will be prepared. I think Auburn's DBs match up with Kentucky's wide receivers. I know they got the one cat. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but when I look at it, it's just a bad matchup to me. And I know it's on the road, so I'm not saying Auburn just goes in and just blows them out. All right. I think Auburn goes in and wins a close game. Maybe 7 points, maybe a late field goal, something like that. Whatever. I think you get a big time road dub. You move to 6-2. Let's continue, Dustin.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, got to get the super chat in. Our guy
Yeah.
B-Ball's forehead. You coming back around to football seasons here, buddy. He says,
Yeah.
Drink's haircut is the sole lone reason I despise everything about Missouri or Eagle Fellow. You don't like Drink's haircut, but B-Ball's forehead, he stands on business. Ain't you heard?
Mm.
His barber doesn't, though. I agree with you. On to Vandy. Yeah, smash him, bro. We win this game.
Yeah.
Listen, coming back home, and I think that people in the actual media are going to be dumb enough to bring up the Pavea and the Jerry Kill stuff like that has anything to do with this game at all. And I think you can just put that up on the bulletin board. I think Auburn beats Vandy. Oh, and then people will be dumb enough to talk about how in the 20s and 30s, Vanderbilt went on like a streak versus Auburn. So Vandy plays Auburn close if you look at the record. Since the radio was invented, Vanderbilt hasn't played Auburn that close. I think Auburn will win this game 172 to -10.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I've said what I've had to say about Vanderbilt. Payback's coming for what happened last year in Jordan-Hare Stadium with New Mexico State, and them making the transition to Vandy. We're getting our get back. So
yeah, I hope people talk that up, man. Just give Hugh something to put up on the board. Look, General Booty, Blake, do you believe in General Booty coming into Jordan-Hare and doing anything with one of the worst teams in Division I college football? ULM might not win 2 games this year. Auburn should smash.
Auburn should smash, and I do not believe in General Booty. I don't believe in the Warhawks. I don't believe in the state of Louisiana. All right. Yeah, but we're moving on, man. Auburn's rolling. All right.
Texas A&M. Yeah, I'm going with a W. Blake's going with a W. Yeah, I mean, I think A&M is in the spot Auburn was last year. Like, I think Mike Elko is going to be doing good things. I understand the kind of excitement around the program. And, like, all right, dude, we got a guy in here that will enforce rules because apparently Jimbo wouldn't. But we saw it last year, right, where, like, we got a lot of the bad guys out of the locker room last year, and now we feel like we got more of them out of the locker room, and we feel better. How many did Mike Elko get out in this short amount of time? Not all of them. Is the culture going in the right direction at A&M? I would assume so. I'm not tapped into that program, but I'm sure it is. But it takes more than 1 year to completely change that. So, yeah, I'm not buying this A&M stuff. I think Auburn wins at home.
I think Auburn wins at home. Bring on the damn Gumps, all right? I got us at 9-2. Bring them on. We get our get back from Texas A&M last year. They got a brand new coach. We'll see what it's like. They got Notre Dame at home week 1. I think we get them. I think our defense is ready this year. Remember, they didn't really move the ball on us last year, all right, until he went out of the game, all right? When Wegman got hurt, then Max come in and had a little day against us. It's not like they were just running up and down the field on us. We just couldn't move the football. So we're going to be in Jordan-Hare, and it's probably going to be a damn night game. All right. So that's I just think I don't see you beating us at night and the place is rocking, swag surfing's going off. I mean, it's jumping. It's jumping. And we're going to be 9-2 going to that awful, awful place that just ain't nothing good about it. And it looks like a business convention where it's just, I don't know. I ain't got nothing good to say about it. They get old Husky Harson. And I know y'all love that. I had to throw that in there. Hey, that man's recruiting over there, so I got to give it to him. But I think it's going to be one heck of an Iron Bowl again, man. So 9-2,
Yeah.
I like us.
Auburn hasn't been able to score on A&M and DJ Durkin for a number of years. Well, DJ Durkin's at Auburn now, so let's see if we can finally put the ball in the end zone. And yeah, man, this game being at home, last home game of the year, and don't overlook this too, dude. They got Texas the next week in a game that their fan base is ready for today. Like I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to go on the road and overlook Auburn.
Yeah.
But man, like they got a monster game for their program and fan base the next week. What we got?
Tim said the bozo. Oh my god.
Hey, this is good. This is the yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah, let him have some blunders, like some Les Miles style blunders, and I ain't saying that'll happen, but just let it be, and the bozo will stick, Tim. The bozo would stick.
No doubt.
All right, man. On to the Gumps, because we never call them by their name on the Up Tempo podcast. I hate it, guys. I hate it. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I'm a broken man. I want Auburn to beat Alabama really bad. I've been telling y'all since we've been doing this, the moment it happens, nobody will talk more trash than me, and I stand on that. Guys in a group chat know that I sent y'all a picture the other day of a gentleman standing in line somewhere I was at in a Forrest Gump jersey.
Yeah.
And I just, of all the players that Bama's had over the last 15 years, Julio Jones, Mark Ingram, I could go on and on and on. That's the jersey you decide to wear. Very, very interesting, man. But I hate it with all my heart. I can't pick us to win there, Blake, because we haven't done it since Lutzy and Cam 2010. I just can't go there with my head. With my heart, my God, I hope we do it.
No, I'm with you. But one thing, hey, that Forrest Gump, he was a guy. All right.
He was an all around guy. I'll give you that.
He was a guy. All right.
He made some things happen.
He went over to Vietnam. He made it through that. I mean, he's ping pong. He could do it all.
Best shrimper in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, had his times with Lieutenant Dan. All right. And was toting that thing for Bear Bryant. So he could get it done. But look, where I'm at with the Iron Bowl is, I just got to show it, man. You got to prove it. I felt like, we let the game in 2014 slip away in Bryant-Denny. I felt like we should have won that game. We picked off Blake Sims 3 times in the first half, and then we just completely fell apart in the second half. Just couldn't get it done, and your offense, anytime you score 44 points in a college football game, you should win a lot of games, and unless you give up 55. So we got to go in, and this is kind of like going into Athens. You got to be competitive on their turf because you've gotten absolutely torched since 2010. You and Cam Newton's not on this roster, folks. So you got to go in and you got to be competitive. You got to go into the fourth quarter having a chance to win. Could Auburn beat Alabama? Yeah, we saw it last year. Yeah, you were at home. But look, fourth and goal from the 31 should have never happened. All Auburn had to do was receive a punt. Might as well not even send anybody back to even try to catch the punt. And that was it. It was over. So it really shouldn't even come down to a last minute defensive stand and all that stuff. It should have come down to just moving the ball for a first down and taking a knee. That's it. All right. So could you win in Tuscaloosa? Yeah, you can win. I'm not saying Auburn, I'm not saying that they're going to go in there and get blown out. I'm just saying go in and be competitive and show us that you can hang with the big boys. You want to be a big dog, you got to go into the ring and scrap with the big dogs. And you can't get knocked out. That's where I'm at when it comes to Georgia and Alabama. Show me that you can go in their house, not in our house. We know what you can do in our house. In their house. If Auburn goes in to Athens and Tuscaloosa, and they compete on the line of scrimmage, and they can pressure both quarterbacks, and they can contain Jalen Milroe and not have broken assignments on the back end and let him throw the ball deep, which he loves to do, and you didn't let happen in Jordan Hare. Just be competitive. Show me those things, and I can walk out of Bryant Denny with my head held high saying, hey, we went 9-3. I told you a couple of episodes that Auburn, in my opinion, was going to be around that conversation, not the college football playoff, but they were just going to be around the conversation. Just, hey, you're going to see us in the polls kind of leaking up, all that good stuff. Just be competitive. Get us to 9-3. Get us another top recruiting class. If Auburn goes 9-3, the sky's the limit, man. It's crazy. Like the recruits are gonna they're gonna be all over Auburn.
You're getting Naheem offered if you do that.
Yeah, easy. He don't want to go to Columbus, Ohio. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Ohio. It ain't fun. It ain't.
Yeah. So we got about 2-3 minutes before we got to get out of here. So you guys go over there, check out the fellas at the War Report for the midweek report. They got a great show planned for the night. Please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're knocking on the door, man. We're right here at 2K. Share this video. Help us get there. Look, Blake's got 9-3. I've got 8-4. I could easily see 9-3. I could very easily see 7-5. And if Auburn went 7-5, guys, I wouldn't be mad. At that point, the bowl game would feel kind of big to me. Like there's a big difference, in my opinion, in 8-5 and 7-6. But if we went 7-5 and won the bowl and finished off 8-5, I still think you sign a top 5 class. If you do that, that would still be a 2-game improvement from the previous year, and I would feel great about it. So even if Auburn lands at 7-5 and like won the bowl, I would still feel good. But I'm going 8-4 because it's more about like I don't know if this team feels more like a 7-5 team to me than an 8-4 team, but it's about the schedule. I think looking at our 8 home games and predicting Auburn's going to go 7-1 at home is not crazy, and then looking at the road games and saying Auburn's going to go 1-3 on the road, like that's obviously being pretty realistic there. So, and I just think that Auburn, I think we can do it, man. And the main thing that's got me at 8-4 is the culture change. These young cats that have come in here and just kind of said, this is the way we're doing it. We're getting Auburn back. I don't think Auburn gets quite back this year, but 8-4 with another top 5 recruiting class, you're looking at 2025 and you're just a quarterback away because all the other pieces at that point will be in place. And you might not even be a quarterback away if Hank Brown can come in this year and say, hey, I'm the future. So
one thing I want to ask each and every one of you, there's almost 100 people in here. All of you love Auburn, just like myself, just like Dustin. So when you go to bed tonight, you ask yourself, would I be happy with 8-4? Would you realistically be happy with 8-4, 9-3? All right. And I think where we have been at as a program, if we go 8-4 with what Dustin's saying, I'm walking out saying, hey, we did our job. We're on the right track. We're coming back. If we walk out 9-3, I'm the same way. Hey, we did our job. We had an exceptional year. We exceeded expectations. Auburn is on their way back. That's all I want to see. Could Auburn go 7-5? Yes, it could happen. Losses to Kentucky and Oklahoma, whatever, A&M, you never know. All right, it could happen. But I don't think it does. I think we're going to have a fun year, y'all. We're a week away. It's almost here. Let's get ready, man. Let's get excited. And that's all I got, Dustin. War Damn Eagle.
Yes, sir. Follow Blake on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. We are going to be at the high school games covering multiple recruits this Friday night. And then we will be dropping the pods for our members. Join the memberships if you haven't already. We'll see you guys sometime later in the week. War Damn Eagle, man. We'll catch you on the next one. Football's back, baby. We're out.
War Damn.